I love
Hello,
that we're this
the
is gonna
podcast
start
is
with.
on. The podcast is on.
I love this. This is gonna start with us watching my brother finish this out in real time. You have like what 5 minutes left.
Something like that, yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I guess before we start, while you finish the movie out, I got an update from Owen. I should probably mention before we start real quick
oh,
about the future movie clubs real quick. So I was under the impression that since you picked summer school, that summer school is just going to follow Cloud Atlas, which is going to follow this. But I guess Owen is using a he owns the channel, not really veto, but a postponement because it'll be the next one after Cloud Atlas will be close to his birthday. So he just wanted to choose one of his just like for that day, the movie club after Cloud Atlas.
okay.
So it's going to be so Ashley's pick is today, then mine is Cloud Atlas, then Owen's is his, and then we'll do summer school, and then after summer school we'll have a clean slate, and all four of us will throw options in, and we'll basically start over. So I think that's what's going on.
Right. Uh, so yeah, welcome everybody to the movie club. Episode 10. We made it to double figures. Holy shit. Um,
It really feels like we just started.
yeah. Well, yeah. Especially when I choose something like this, which you know is sort of like I'd say the most comedic, but maybe not intended to be comedic things, but also has sort of a charm of what it is. So yes, this is the discussion of Who Killed Captain Alex from technically 2010, but nearly everybody saw it in 2015, unless they saw the trailer on YouTube, which was enough of an experience in itself. So yeah, I'm uh, I'm the picky this time round, being Ashley. Joining me, as always, is AJ Tiger Mafia.
I like I was telling you before we started. I this isn't the kind of movie I typically seek out. Like stuff that has basically a reputation for being riffed on. Movies like The Room just annoy me and bore me, and I don't really seek them out, and I don't get any enjoyment out of them. And a part of me was afraid that's what this would be, but when it's already when there's already something there riffing it, it's like something I don't know. This just really clicked really quickly for me, and this was I'm so the first thing I want to do is thank Ashley for bringing this movie into my life because I don't think I would have sought it out had we not been doing
Yeah.
this. I'm so glad I have seen it. I'm probably going to see it many more times after this.
Yes. And also, still in the middle of watching the end, Chris, the Commando!
I'm watching the dude in the clearly animated helicopter.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the part where he's flying in it, and it's like a side profile, and he's yelling out of it.
which one? There's multiple
I don't know.
ones.
Now he's shooting out of it. Oh, there's two of them. Okay.
Yeah. You got the Tiger Mafia's helicopter, and then you've got the Ugandan Air Force's helicopter. Um,
Because the labeling helps.
I guess they had to differentiate it in After Effects or whatever. Um, just the whole concept of this, you know, it in the director's commentary, uh, the director himself doesn't really state that he knows what the figure is. The producer claimed it was $85. the word going around it was something like $200. Nearly everybody is there sort of for free. It's just there for the sort of the love of like making films, inspired by the sort of films that it was incredible in the commentary to find out that he never really watched films himself. His brother, who was friends with like the video joker for sort of the big one in Kampala, the big capital city, would basically get him for free because he was friends with the video joker, the VJ. In case you haven't seen it, in which case it's on YouTube. You can probably watch it while we're doing this review. You probably watch it 1.5 times, depending how long this review takes. But yeah, apparently his brother's descriptions were that vivid. He knew enough from that what to do in terms of like what he wanted for his vision. And I have to give full credit to that, in all honesty.
Yeah, because there's that, and you talk about the people that are here that weren't really getting paid, that are just here for the love of it, and it's like, you can really tell that. Like, it actually, like, it's, usually it's like kind of it could be seen as an insult to say, oh man, this movie looks like it's just a few dudes shooting a movie in their backyard. But it's like, this doesn't just feel like that. It feels like you like friends that you really like made a movie in your backyard, and that's what it is. Like, you've been like, it's not just, it doesn't just feel like guys playing in their backyard. It feels like guys playing in their backyard, and they've invited you to play too. It feels much more like that, where it doesn't just feel like that sort of secondhand, because it never feels like it. Because usually when you see movies like this, where they're done for like a really low budget, people tend to really write past their budget that they have, but they really take themselves seriously, and it just ends up coming out like shit. But it's like, you can tell this is clearly just for the love of doing this and for no other reason.
Well, as specified in the director's commentary, a lot of the people are sort of in the movie multiple times. There's a lot of people that are mysteriously masked, including who I refer to without even knowing that apparently this is what the producer was apparently so-called calling it. Ugandan Spider-Man. The guy with sort of the red shirt and the red mask and whatever. Turns out the reason why he's there is because he's in the film multiple times, and they obviously don't want the continuity of, wait, why is he also a good guy but also a bad guy? So there are various instances in which the actors kill themselves, and in one bit, the actor kills themselves twice in the same scene. Somehow. Just like, and the fact that he basically had to, just to get the Sony camera that it was all filmed on and everything, he had to basically sell everything he owned and do his sort of day job, which is just making sort of bricks for the sort of local stuff. And even barely then, he had just enough to sort of get through, and make ends meet just to be able to film the thing. Yet alone, some of the scenes are basically his house, or one was, I think, a friend's house, and the woman wanted to be in the film and wanted to act, but her husband sort of disapproved of it, and whatever they filmed they managed to get, and then he found out and wasn't happy and asked her to sort of like leave the set, so she never came. Luckily, like, they'd done everything they had with her, but it was literally a case of the one bit I also remember from the commentary. The bit sort of towards the middle when Bruce Yu, or whatever we call him, is doing his fishing and whatever. That's apparently at the national park. They tried doing it all legally and everything. The Ugandan government wanted a lot of money, which they didn't have. So they just did it on a Sunday because it's such a religious stuff that the guards didn't work on Sundays. So they just filmed it all on Sundays because that's how they could do it.
That is shockingly strategic.
It's just... at first, I just found it because it was on various things as sort of like one of these really sort of funny and odd films that exists on YouTube and whatever. But when you look into the detail of, like, the only way this exists is because it's a DVD rip of, like, either a legal or illegal copy that went around, because there's a load with that as well, because he had to delete everything off his hard drive so there'd be enough space to make one of his other films. And in the case of one of the other films, there was a power surge, and it fried the computer completely, because it's just made from sort of bits and pieces that he can just sort of cobble together and everything. It's literally like the little engine that could. Yeah, the trailer's been viewed sort of nearly 7 million times, if not probably somewhere over that. The movie now being available for free just because they want it out there and just as sort of a public thing. And it's sort of just, I mean, okay, the plot sort of, even the fact that, and I know Josephine, I think, brings it up in the sort of trivia stuff, even the director in the commentary was like, who killed Captain Alex? And he's like, I don't know. That wasn't the purpose.
I love, by the way, that they literally wait till they're pretty much cutting to black to tell us we're not going to find out.
Yeah.
You know what else I do really admire about just the making of it in general is this whole debate of, was it $200 or was it $85 or something. I love how much they seem to have embraced that and putting that out there, because it does seem like, it almost seems like movies really beefed up their budgets lately because they're afraid of sounding like they're cheap. Like, they're afraid if they have a small price tag on their movie that people won't take it as seriously. And that's how we end up with movies like Red Notice that are $200 million for no fucking reason at all. And it's like, for them to just come out and say, no, we spent all we needed to. And this is what you have, and this is what we had to work with. And to be honest, like we were talking about with like the strategy of shooting in the park and stuff like that, and it's like, and you see like, the very CGI blood effects and the very fake looking helicopter that you just saw, for like $85 to $200, this movie is actually very well made for what they had. That, especially the ending shootout, like that ending shootout is so appropriately chaotic. And it, like what you were talking about with them repeating actors, it's like, I honestly don't think I would have even thought about that they were doing that. It's like, I'm really surprised how actually kind of well made it is, as ridiculous as it looks.
Mm-hmm. It is sort of, I do like it in the sense that it's just sort of the little thing that could, and just everything. Yeah, Josephine says it's amazing that a movie like this does exist. I think it's more amazing that it's now actually become just because of the success of sort of this trailer. It's now become a whole big thing that's covered by worldwide press, and I think they were one of the big things at the lockdown festival or something that YouTube did with one of their films called Crazy World that got shown. I can't find it anywhere else. I probably could have seen it for free then, and I sort of found out after the case, which is sort of annoying. But I know that and Bad Black are at least free, and nothing else is. Well, I think Bad Black is like £30 to buy on Amazon, which for a digital, not too much. Josephine also says the movie would make a sick ride. They could have it in Uganda. How would you design a ride for this movie? Well, Commandos, the Tiger Mafia. I don't know how you'd do any of the sort of kung fu stuff. Also, the helicopter stuff was just, I don't know how you do that, because can you replicate dodgy CGI of destruction of like big important buildings? And then it also has to abruptly end with a nonsensical thing, which I don't think is how a ride at a theme park should probably end.
I feel like a ride based on the production would be more appropriate.
The ending made me think of it's very Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh my god, yeah.
And that doesn't even get the sort of like
I can't even...
the ending at the end where we get all the sort of, I was going to say fake films, but I think about 80% of them have been made or remade in the case of the Tetusualabalasa Ebola. That was just...
I can totally, now that you mention that, I can 100% imagine Monty Python making a movie that's title is a question, and the last scene is just them asking that question and not giving us the answer. Just asking the question and then ending. I also love, did you notice, obviously it's a running joke that every time VJME's really excited, he announces the title of the movie. He doesn't just reintroduce the movie, he reintroduces himself.
I also love that there were a couple scenes. Who would have ever thought that "Kiss from a Rose" would be a stealth song?
I really thought I was hearing things for a while, and then after the third time, it was like, nope, that's definitely Kiss from a Rose.
That's that, and then the only thing that sort of gets brought up in sort of the song tracks is that, and the random Mamma Mia cover, just as we're building towards the first sort of big shootout and whatever that shows up. But I'm pretty sure, and this is like, I'm trying to work out if this is an homage or something. The scene where the wife gets, I wasn't going to say tortured, but it's more like, marry me or I kill you. And she's sort of like getting tortured and they're throwing water on her and whatever. They're playing Cavatina from the Deer Hunter in the background.
Oh wow!
I'm trying to work out if that's intended or not, or it's just like, I'm gonna use that music because it's good.
I was thinking like, this reminds me of when they're torturing Broomhilda and Django, but it's like, this predates Django actually. And the thing I was talking about also was the fact that every time V. Jamie's excited, he says the title of the movie. I really love that whenever somebody says who killed Captain Alex in mid-sentence, like, I don't know who killed Captain Alex, in the subtitles, who killed Captain Alex is still capitalized. And
then even from the opening credits, when it's Who Killed Captain Alex, but then they put Who Killed Captain Alex over it because they realize, oh wait, people might not be able to read that cursive handwriting, so let's just put it in a different font.
It's very Grindhouse.
um, and then the whole, it's weird to. Apparently, the reason why they have it is basically these sort of movies are put on in places where the other screen also has the football match on. So if there's sort of bits where they aren't interested in the football match, the video jockey can keep them abreast of what's going on. But more often than not, other than in this case, he obviously is sort of saying, action is coming and things like that.
That actually, I'm embarrassed to say it, that actually paid off for me at one point. Because it's like he's clearly stating the obvious, and that's basically his job. But then there's the moment where the wife is with Bruce Yu, and she's like laying down, and it says TM across her stomach.
Tiger Mafia.
I had just a brief moment of idiocy, and I was like, TM, what is that? And as soon as I asked, what is that? Tiger Mafia.
Tiger Mafia.
Thank you, PJ, for having my back.
Commandos. And then the best one, like when right at the start when they're doing all the camp, and it's like, here I have girls, all the beautiful girls, and then here we build football pitch, and then it gets to the bit with the camping, and it's like, oh, I see you cooking. What we got? German food. German food. Yeah, we found some German tourists.
This is the impact this movie seems to have made. Right after that line is when he says, "Save me the head like Predator."
Yes, there it is.
And as soon as he said that, I was like, was that actually a line in Predator? I don't remember. So I Googled "Save me the head Predator," and the only thing that came up was the Urban Dictionary definition of German food. Which is the line from this movie where German food is defined as German tourists, and then the like supporting sentence is "Save me the head like Predator." That's the only thing that comes up when you Google that. I don't know about you, brother, but while I was watching it and like trying to take notes down, like half this page I have is just quotes. Were there any particular quotes that stood out to you?
The "Save me the head like Predator" came to mind. Just when he would randomly yell "Commandos" and "Tiger Mafia."
I think one of my personal favorites. It felt like the Batman TV series when everybody's fighting in the restaurant at the beginning, and somebody throws a punch, and he just says "Combat." Another one that really got me was when it was like, rather than commentating, he was reacting. Like when the guy gets stabbed in the throat and he just says "Jesus." And I believe after he screams "Jesus," that's another commando. Oh my god. You were before we started recording, you were making a reference to another movie that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, this movie reminded me a lot of Kung Pao.
It really, really does. It's like, but what's the beautiful thing about it is it's almost like where Steve Oedeker took another movie and dubbed over it, and Woody Allen did the same thing with What's Up, Tiger Lily, I think. It's almost like they made their own movie, and then it's like, because I'm wondering like how much of VJ Emmy's commentary is like considered canon, if you want to call it that, since this is like the only surviving thing now.
Yeah, because random things would come up, like when it's toward the end, when like the commandos were climbing over the wall, and he was like, "Oh, the commandos have nice panties."
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, like for half of the movie, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, I didn't know if I was watching a real movie that somebody dubbed over. I didn't know if it was like the actual movie and the VJ was doing commentary. I had no idea. For the first half of the movie, I was so confused.
Yeah, I had to look it up also. I mean, Ashley like made references to it, but by the time I actually got around to it, I had to look up again to figure out if the VJ was actually part of it or not. Where it was like, did somebody make a shitty YouTube edit? And then it's like, oh no, this is the movie. And I love that
I
you
kind
watch.
of figured he was part of the movie, seeing as how that was the version on Tubi.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that there is sort of, I think the original version without the VJ stuff is only available on DVD, at least from what I can find. And you can tell at least that that's the version that they're watching for the director's commentary version that's on YouTube. So
Yeah,
normally a movie like this, I would say like the VJ part is funny but not needed. I feel like for the enjoyment of it, it's absolutely needed.
Yeah. Because it was like, because I was gonna say where it's like I gave it credit where it's like for what they were working with, it's not badly put together. Like it's feels like it's pretty competently made for what they were working with. But at the same time, I don't think I can imagine it without the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the, like I feel like the Bruce Yu scenes when he's just hanging out and like camping, I feel like I would have like tuned out. But it's like you can tell like the VJ knows this, so he's gonna try to keep it entertaining as it goes.
Also, of course, the fact where he just actually brings up, watch out for the next film, Bad Black. Which is, we're dropping adverts for the other stuff. It's brilliant.
I love that Richard's parting words are "I'll get you back in the sequel."
Yeah.
What fascinated me about the VJ was it felt like he was half shitting on the movie and half marking out for it.
and half translate or part translating it. I did the John Turturro and anger management math there. Half this, half this, half this. Yeah, there was.
Will you go out with me? No, I prefer men. No.
I also love how the first scene where the news report breaks that he finds out that his brother's killed. I love that the news anchor is trying not to crack. Like she's clearly smiling while she's reporting on something she should not be smiling about.
And the sort of really crazy thing is, at least according to the commentary, that woman died.
Like for real?
Yes, but then like the producer was like trying to be a dick about it. I think slightly the American guy, who's basically now sort of co-producing the stuff with him, or in some shape or form, basically said, "Well, she's now in space." Like, he might mean she's actually dead, mate. You might want to get a bit sensitive about it.
You know what else I really loved also when you talk about the involvement of the VJ is when lines would come up that are real lines in the movie that sound like they should be the VJ's lines. Like when the girl was talking about going undercover and her explanation is "Alex is my bitch."
Yeah.
It's hilarious that that's a real line and not one of the VJ's lines. Another one that I love that's like that is when Richard finds out that his wife is still alive after he shot her, and his line is, "Bitch, how dare you still live?"
I mean, yeah, just like all the helicopter scenes were basically based on his own experiences during the Ugandan Bush War in the 80s, where they got chased by a helicopter. So that's why he sort of has this sort of fondness. The props and the camera equipment were made from scrap metal at a shop next to his house. The actors all supply their own costumes and guns. In case you complain about guns not looking good in other films, no, these are real ones. So much so that at certain scenes, because obviously, there is a military presence over there, there was one bit at like a petrol station where the soldiers were guarding at the front. So they purposely filmed at the back so the soldiers wouldn't go, why are these people with guns? Just in case there'd be some sort of like civil war uprising thing going on. So they had to sort of all be careful with that sort of stuff. And apparently as well, I think Josephine does bring it up as well in the things, which I'll get to in a minute. The reason why he suddenly shouts "movie, movie, movie" is because some people might think it's actually real. Case in point, that little bit at the end where it shows the sort of rioting on the television, that's clearly not green screened in. The director just filmed that off his television of riots that were actually happening, and I can use that for the film. So, and then even to the intricacies of the squibs are made from red food coloring filled condoms tied to fishing lines, taped to the chest and whatever. And the fact that they did previously, including in this film apparently, used cow's blood to make it sort of look more realistic, until they found out that one of the actors developed brucellosis or Mediterranean fever, basically from unvaccinated or unsuitable cows or whatever. So now that's why it's just red food colouring and everything. Just all and even at the very start of the thing, when you can see them, Ramon Film Productions with the whole helicopter thing, and you can see how it's done with just a green screen on the side of a house with the guy hanging there. Yeah. Doing everything
I
that
love
they
the
can.
parts where the helicopter would destroy something and it wouldn't just shoot at it, it would bend down into it and blow it up.
Yes. Somehow. Well, you've got to cover the after effects and whatever. But yeah, I just also love the fact that it sort of is. It's an action. Well, like good action movies, it doesn't really have a very significant plot. But I do like the fact that it just, as you say, sort of Monty Python style, it just goes nowhere and just whatever. There is always
feel like,
and then
if I had to summarize the movie for somebody, I would say, imagine Monty Python made Commando.
and repeatedly announces itself. I can't get enough of the fact that he would, every time he said the name of the movie, he would reintroduce himself, and I love there was a moment where I was anticipating it, where it was, I think we were getting towards the climax, and yet again he was saying, "This is the movie Who Killed Captain Alex," and I was like, "Oh, please say it. Please say it." And then, like, a few seconds later, "This is VJ Emmy on the
VJ Emmy on the microphone. The movie's on. Hello."
I love the subtitles too, because there was one. I'm gonna call it a noise that the VJ made, where the subtitle was one word that took up most of the screen.
I just like kind of the general interaction also. Like, sometimes it was just him commentating and it seemed distant, but then there's stuff where it's like the VJ just sounds really tired and he's like, "I just want good news," and then the next line is "bad news."
and that sort of that was a sort of running joke mentioned on the commentary. Like, when Ramon News comes on, it's like, yeah, this isn't going to be good news. It's going to be, somebody's going to be upset. Either Tiger Mafia Man is going to destroy his CRT television.
I feel like the last time I laughed this consistently at a movie was the death of Stalin.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty big compliment, but I'm willing to give it.
And like, I mean, I don't want to compare it dramatically to the raid, but there is actual thought behind the martial arts scenes and whatever to some extent. Like, you
I
know,
mean,
you've got to find an
you talk
excuse for
about.
Ugandan Bruce Lee to get involved.
I mean, you talk about the raid, and the raid at the beginning of the raid. There's that scene where the villain is executing those people,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's actually a moment here where it was like, despite all the ridiculousness surrounding this movie, and honestly, the ridiculous storyline this moment leads to, after we've had like the opening action scene, and then they bring his wife back, and they're trying to explain to Richard how that Captain Alex didn't die, and they said, "But don't worry, we saved your wife." And his response to them saving his wife is to shoot her, and it was like,
Yes.
that's pretty hardcore. But then it leads to that soap opera storyline where he shot her like here and she got amnesia.
Yeah. Also, she better not bleed on Bruce Yu's shirt. I don't know why that's important. Don't bleed on it. If you bleed in, soothe it with a thing.
I feel like half of Bruce Yu's screen time was just cooking that fish. Cooking that fish and kicking. Yeah.
Cooking the fish and then catching the same fish because I guess they filmed it out of order. Maybe. But like even that sort of the opening bar scene and whatever. The cup. You notice how the cups are all blue? That's because they're the blue paint that was used to paint the room that you're actually looking at. They substituted a few of them for actual sort of glasses because they needed to sort of have water be drunk and whatever. But it's all just, you know, oh, this is a quality beverage sort of thing.
That's also the best thing about productions like this is literally every detail has a backstory.
Yes. That's why, you know, if you haven't already, the director's commentary is like fascinating in itself when you find out, you know, he looked at his mobile phone because, by the way, that number you see at the start and the end of the film, that was his mobile number at the time. If you wanted to contact him, so people were seeing this because it was on the 90-second sort of trailer on YouTube, and they were this one person phoned him up from Sweden and said, "You know, your film is big in America." I'm like, "Well, are you from America?" Like, "No, I'm from Sweden. Is it big there?" Not really. And then he'd get another call from like New York saying from somebody that runs, apparently there's a company called Uganda Video that wanted the rights to it, and they were like, "Well, no, because I don't know what you want the rights for, you know." I just put up, apparently because of the quality of his internet, the trailer nearly took 8 months to upload, possibly. Just all these sort of little tidbits of like a guy who loves filmmaking, you know, his son now, his son is teaching other 11 and 12-year-old kids how to do After Effects and 3D stuff in Adobe Premiere. It's like, it's actually trying to become, you know, Wakalia Wood is actually becoming a real thing of people making. I think the latest thing that I saw outside of like the family themselves is somebody was making sort of a stop motion animation.
That is like genuinely amazing. Like I feel uplifted hearing that.
Yeah, it's just it's so brilliant that it's all really for the sort of love of the love of filmmaking rather than just trying to make money from it. Obviously, it does help, you know.
There's like zero pretension in it.
Yeah. I wonder now whether some of it has sort of come in now that they've got some sort of notoriety. I think their Patreon still gets about a couple of $1,000 a month from those that sort of want to support them. And I think I said this to AJ last night after we were off air. They did a Kickstarter for the Chisusulubasa Ebola film that had to be remade because of the said power surge that I talked about earlier that fried the computer. They were looking for, I think, $160 in order to make it. That's how well budgeted it was. The issue being they got 13,000. Which and the thing is, they sort of, rather than just using it all on the movie and trying to make it whatever it was, it stayed. I mean, obviously they upped the budget somewhat to maybe within 1,000, but the rest of that basically went to his house, his internet costs, and sort of developing this base for everybody to be able to use it. You know, one of the rooms in his house was basically a library for his local community if they needed it, and then just the weather was bad one time and it sort of got destroyed, or not good quality, so it sort of never went back. And the computer that he pieces together, because of how hot it is in Uganda, it's literally just the bare sort of case, if that, no sides or anything. So just because otherwise it'd get too hot. But then you'd have thought, what about all the dust and the sand and everything that gets in it? It's, if you haven't already, and I gave the link on the last one, but if you just search for Who Killed Captain Alex director's commentary, there's enough little sort of tidbits in that to be sort of fascinating in itself. It's not a second movie, it's like a third movie, because I feel you have Who Killed Captain Alex, the VJ version of Who Killed Captain Alex, and then the director's commentary, which is basically like Lost in La Mancha, but except the film was made.
It sort of reminds me of this is actually really random, but the DVD for The Rules of Attraction has a commentary by Carrot Top for seemingly no reason, and it's like a whole other experience in itself. And it's like it's weird how much commentary can make a completely different movie. Case in point, the VJ himself.
Yeah. Sometimes where it's bits where there probably shouldn't be humour. And, I mean, just the bit sort of with the, as previously mentioned, the camp bit, it's obviously like, we need the fire there and whatever. But the VJ's just like, and here, we'll build a football pitch.
I was telling my brother a little bit ago. Well, the thing about it is, I feel, I mean, everybody does this. I'm probably going after like a huge group here, and I'm sure I've done it myself many times, particularly like back in like school days or whatever. But I feel like the lowest form of showing appreciation for a movie is just saying quotes. Like, it doesn't really anything. You're just sort of saying them. And people do it a lot for stuff like The Room, and it's like because that's the stuff that they're known for. But it's like, there's when I was taking down notes for this movie, half this page I was just writing down quotes, and it was like, and if you would like to know, some of the quotes that I wrote down were "Save me the head like Predator," of course.
Yeah.
Sing Dolly Parton, we love Dolly Parton.
Sing Dolly Parton, we love Dolly Parton.
When he comes up on the guard and the guy's yawning, and he says, "You want to sleep? Okay, I put you to sleep." I wrote down, "Wow, this music is good. Commando." There is the Alex is my bitch thing we talked about, and bitch, how dare you still live. Another one of my favorites towards the end Another one where it feels like it should be the VJ's line, but it's an actual line that an actual character says. We need to attack early because I'm on vacation and I want to go dancing later.
He fights drugs by using drugs.
And it's like I mean, like I said, it's the lowest form of movie appreciation. It's just literally saying quotes and not adding anything to it. But I mean, there's so much gold in here.
Yeah.
It's like they're comedy in and of themselves. And you can put them in any context. Like you know how people are like people incorporate the Room quotes into just about anything, and it's like, oh, that old shit. You can literally do the same thing. Like anytime somebody goes somewhere and there's like an open mic thing or something, or not open mic, but like karaoke or something, somebody in the crowd could say, "Sing Dolly Parton, we love Dolly Parton," in that manner, and it's like you'll find like 2 people that laugh. And you could do that with so many of these. They're like so recognizable as their own thing because the context of this movie is so out there.
Mm-hmm. Let's try to have a look at some of the comments. Yeah, as Josephine says, and as mentioned at the start of the thing, the original version without the commentary was lost when it got deleted from his hard drive to make room for Tetu Balasa. Ebola. I love the fact because that isn't even in the actual title, but it's just randomly there, like as a sort of shock tactic thing in the end of like films coming soon. And then, yeah, as Josephine brings up, the original version does now exist alongside Bad Black in the Wakalia Wood Super Action Volume 1 DVD and Blu-ray combo set from the American Genre Film Archive from a couple of years back, and has welcome videos from the director for 14 countries, and it's subtitled into 40 different languages. I guess that helps when it's on YouTube and people can just experience it that way.
So as far as like music goes, like the way they use "Kiss from a Rose," is that part of the original movie?
Yes.
Or is that
that, Mamma Mia, and the bit that nobody picked on, which I just think is like a brilliant touch, the torture deer hunter stuff, like.
Because he said something like, "Now welcome to Hugo Captain Alex the musical," and I couldn't tell if the VJ was adding the music or if he was riffing on the music that was already in the movie. Yeah, riffing on the music that's already there makes more sense.
Yeah. Oh wow, Spencer says, "You guys, movie clubs and Q&As are revolutionizing film and film discussions. I want to take a moment to thank you all on all the work you put into the channel and these videos. This channel is a gem among dirt."
Well, you're gonna get a lot more because, like I said, I've been shooting so much stuff lately, and you're basically gonna get some kind of movie content every single day through September and October. Literally every single day will be some type of movie content, and like I was been saying a lot. I feel like movie discourse is in a really bad place. That's why I really like doing this sort of kind of long thing where we don't just kind of say, "Oh, the movie's good," or like, "Oh, the cinematography's good, the writing is good, the directing is good," and then you just leave. And it's like really because so much effort is put into every single movie that's made, as we see with this one. And it's like, so even if it's shitty, there's something you can have a full discussion about with literally any movie that exists if you just look into it. And the fact that so many people just kind of make 2-minute videos where they say something's good or something sucks, and then that's it, is like, I feel like that's not good for movie discussion. So it's really nice to hear that at least one person thinks that we've gone beyond that.
Above and beyond the Call of Duty. Sub me the head. Um. Quick check. Yeah, I mentioned that about the scrap parts stuff and the paint. The backwards firing helicopter was intentional. Apparently. The one thing I remember when they were talking about like him and his brother being chased by the helicopter is to make sure that they were always behind it, and if that's what, if it's tried to spin round, sort of stay underneath it, like behind it, because it couldn't shoot from there. So I guess in this plot they tried to do that, and then they've had the upper hand, so that's why it's shot from behind as well.
I have a question, brother. When you turned just then, I noticed, and I know you just came from the office. Are you still in your work clothes? So you were like semi-formally dressed to watch this.
Essentially, yeah.
I love that.
You're basically Richard, the king of the Tiger Mafia, when he randomly goes to the police station. He's like just in casual sort of like leather jacket and everything, and then within 4 seconds he's in a suit like, oh, I'm taking these guns. They're not ours. I don't care. I'm having them.
It reminds me of the story where Matt Stone told Bill Hader that he had seen Mad Max Fury Road twice, and when he went the third time, he was going to wear a suit out of respect.
Speaking of smartly dressed, Josie mentions that when he was a child, when Uganda was under Idi Amin's regime, the Ugandan military apparently were equipped with helicopters that could only shoot missiles behind themselves anyway. So, did they give Idi Amin like the dodgy sort of second-hand helicopters? I don't remember that being in The Last King of Scotland. That would have been... Yeah, and Joseph, there's the bit that Josephine mentions about, especially during the fighting scenes, phrases as "the movie's on," or movie," or stuff like that is basically just it's the equivalent of, is it Videodrome? As though, it's just a movie.
Oh man, I can't remember what it is they keep saying, but yeah, it's akin to that.
Something akin to that. And then about the production costs with the slain soldier playing a different slain soldier, or even the soldier that was killing slain soldier. And then, yeah, nobody knows who killed Captain Alex.
I almost feel like a part of me is like it's intentionally ambiguous, and another part of me is like, did they forget to tell us who killed Captain Alex?
Maybe that's where they ran out of money.
I also appreciate Bry is living up to the hype of the film, saying, "I hope you're enjoying the 10th episode of Popcast Movie Club on the 2010 Uganda film Who Killed Captain Alex on the Popcast Network, starring VJs Ashley, AJ, and Chris." Like, props to that, Bry. The podcast is still on. Bry also mentions, wasn't there a moment when the VJ farted? He didn't. I mean, yes, but it was supposed to be because I guess they were having beans or whatever at the campfire bit, while they were discussing the important sort of like plan, which was not going to be known to anybody apart from the guy that's literally sat next to him with a walkie-talkie that's literally just there on the path. Did nobody notice it was?
Because he said something about his stomach being upset or something.
And then, of course, the getting hijacking the news reporters and getting them in by getting a fax machine that isn't even plugged in to call in to the server saying, we have a live report that we need to get on.
It's like the severely low budget version of the end of Natural Born Killers is what that is.
Yeah.
So from here, AJ, how many movies are you gonna watch that you're gonna be like, man, this would be so much more interesting if the VJ was here?
Yeah, it's gonna be a new game. Like, what would the VJ say in this moment?
And Josephine does ask, imagine if VJ Emmy did Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, he could do his own spin-off show.
And which
like
upcoming...
do you think you would find Syriana more interesting if the VJ was commentating through it?
How weird is it that I can actually imagine that? That's gonna be my when I rewatch Syriana again. That's gonna be my mission. Is to decide what the VJ would say during.
I hope that you imagine whenever they pull off George Clooney's fingernails, he just says combat.
Or for that when Clooney blows up, for that matter.
Yeah.
Josephine does ask as well, which...
No, when he blows up, it'll just be movie.
Which upcoming film would you like to see VJ Emmy do a voiceover from, if at least just on the trailer, yet alone the film? Oh.
Upcoming?
I've got an answer for this.
He might make that film with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock slightly entertaining.
If we're counting upcoming movies that we haven't seen yet, I think the VJ would thrive in something like Beast.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I'm just trying to go through the last few months of the year. What we got? I mean, he might make Avatar interesting. I'd be intrigued.
Alien movie.
I'd be intrigued to see what he does with like Glass Onion, Knives Out. I guess that will be like Who Killed Captain Alex. It'll be just who killed whatever character we're looking for.
The only trouble is that, as much as I love VJ Emmy, I don't think he could overshadow Benoit Blanc. I think even Benoit Blanc would outdo him.
I wonder if VJ would make me. I wonder if VJ would help me finally answer the question: do I like No Time to Die? There'd be a lot of instances of yelling combat in that one.
I was gonna say I'd love to hear him all throughout No Time to Die. Come to think of it.
Imagine what fun he would have for the Avengers Assemble big fight scene in Endgame.
I just imagine him yelling combat, and the word combat in all capital letters just shakes across the screen in the final fight.
And I think
scrolling across 1C, 17,000 O's, and then just combat.
I was saying that the action scenes are surprisingly competent for what they were working with, but as hilarious as it was whenever it would happen, did you also find VJ Emmy's excitement during the action scenes a little contagious?
To some extent, yeah, because I wasn't really into some of it, but like the one thing I do praise as well, the first, well, it's not even a stealth kill because it's the Thing, but when they do the whole knife to the Thing and you get the blood coming out, I'm like, I've seen Hollywood films do worse than that.
Yeah.
This is, and that's like, that actually looked really accurate and graphic and whatever, and well done.
Yeah,
I think
that's
another
not
thing
funny.
about the VJ bit for me is I was expecting it to kind of grow old, but it only got better.
Yeah. Because because you have to get used to it at first if you're not expecting it, and then
Yeah.
once you get used to it, it's like I want this all the time. There were literally times, especially in like the Bruce Yu scenes, where he got quiet for a little bit, and it was like, dude, you have to come back.
You have to say something.
And then I would get the split second of seeing the yellow subtitles pop up, and I'm like, oh, he's still here.
And then the just a bit at the end, thank you for watching, and remember, Uganda is crazy. That's how most foreign films need to finish. You know. Imagine if there was like a VJ going at the end of Parasite after everything. And remember, South Korea is crazy.
Oh, he would have had a field day with Parasite.
Or imagine the scarring if like VJ was in the part of Titanic where the ship hit the iceberg moving forward.
Yeah, because like I was saying, one of my favorite bits was when the throat stabbing happens, and he just says Jesus. And it's like,
He needs to do that. He needs to do that in Titanic when the guy hits the propeller.
I was like, I'm just looking for the Jesus moments now. Mm. Yeah, him reacting to propeller guy is good. Mm.
Considering how Uganda loves action, if they did anything like John Wick, which to some extent, at some of this point, it sort of does. Ugandan. Does Ugandan Bruce Lee die? I don't know. I also love that bit
like
when they go into the hut, which the VJ is like, oh, there's women's panties in there. And then they go into it like, we're safe in here, and immediately gets bombed by the bloody helicopters. Like, well, there's that. They got written out quick.
Yeah, I feel like there was like a split second that might have been Bruce Yu getting captured, but then I don't remember seeing him after that. Yeah, I guess though, if it feels like characters are blending together, now we know there's a reason for that because we're probably looking at the same people multiple times from different sides.
There were a couple times that I was watching and I was like, who is this again? Like, how do they factor in? Like,
Yeah, we needed more identifying factors like red bandana guy. It was like he is and is only red bandana guy. Okay, I got it. That's what me and Owen did the first time we watched Battle Royale. Was we identified people by who they looked like or what they were wearing.
Because I remember red bandana guy, Richard was very distinguishable. Bruce Yu, of course, stuck out. And I love how with Bruce Yu, like in the middle of this proclaimed action movie, there's like a kung fu movie hiding in here. It's like somebody stuck. It's like somebody spliced Enter the Dragon and Lethal Weapon or something.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Bro, not
Well, I guess you did. I guess with Jet Li, that's kind of Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bro, not happy with Chris's criticism of No Time to Die.
Oh yeah. I don't think you were here yet when we found out that Brian is a huge fan of No Time to Die.
I need to rewatch it before I give it an assessment.
The movie is basically a riff tracks. Wow, the VJ version is.
I'll say right now, I've seen some Riff Tracks videos. VJ is far funnier than anything I saw in Riff Tracks.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's because that's another thing that made me worry about the VJ when he first came on. Where I was like, oh, is this some shitty YouTube edit or something? And then when I realized it was the actual movie, and he got funnier as he went, as you said, it was like, okay, I can dig it. Not only do I love it for this movie, but I want to see him in other movies. That means it's definitely successful.
But at the same time, I don't want to see him in other movies because I wouldn't want him. It's like, Ashley, you'll understand this reference. It's like Danhausen in AEW. The more you would get of him, you would tire of him. If you just see him
Yes.
here and there, it's a novelty. The VJ is definitely a novelty.
Yeah, I certainly see that. Like, use him only when necessary.
Yes.
If it's a little bit with him and Hook in a boat going along a lake in the graphics behind on Quake by the Lake, just a little touch like that.
Now that I've brought this into the world, though, I would love to watch Danhausen and VJ watch a movie together.
Josephine says, "Imagine the VJ during Hereditary, or a horror film."
Oh man, Hereditary. He might need to be escorted out of the recording booth during Hereditary.
Or Clockwork Orange, or French Connection, or Watership Down, or Plague Dogs, or even I don't know if we want to do so many episodes. But Josephine even says, "What about Breaking Bad with VJ?"
There's a few scenes that immediately come to mind. I would like to hear what he'd have to say.
There's a few boring movies out there that I've thought the VJ could add to. Another one I just thought of was the animated Cinderella.
Yeah, something needs to be added to that movie, and it's not more mice.
I just want Gus Fring's death, you know. Ah, hello, contact.
I won't lie, watching the movie, I wasn't sure throughout the whole if I liked what I was watching, but now that I'm looking back at it as a whole, it was enjoyable.
I feel like it's gonna be like me and Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. Right now, you're like, that was enjoyable. A week from now, after you've thought about it for 7 more days, you're gonna be going, that was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me.
Like, I won't lie, I started to watch it last night, and I fell asleep 10 minutes in, and it cracks me up the thought of me sleeping while some of this ridiculous shit is happening.
And now,
Especially, I thought that the most when the helicopter started.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I need a live feed of you just completely asleep while the helicopter shit is happening.
Although it does make me wonder what the hell happens in Bad Black. Especially especially with the one thing that I read when I think it's Bad Black, where it's basically this supposed to be Ugandan, but because it's the producer and everything, and because he flew over, they basically made this American guy do it. Oh, great. Sorry about that, everybody. But he has also been trained in the way of sort of Ugandan kung fu, except the master is a 4-year-old boy. So, just from that alone, I'm like, I want to know where that goes.
That's like when the VJ called that one guy the Fat Master, and I was like, he's not even fat. He looks like everybody else, size-wise.
Super fighter. And I was like... It's something that I felt that only now by looking into it, it's like it's even more fascinating than I've just had it as sort of being like this quirky thing. It makes me wonder whether Wakalia Wood has yet or will get a Ugandan entry into the Oscars or something. Be the official submission.
I would vote for it.
Do we have a list of submissions? I'm literally looking it up now. That's a YouTube thing of Uganda. Is there anything? No. There's the Africa Movie Academy Awards. I don't know whether it's been up with that. I'm just intrigued as to whether. I mean, obviously that didn't get any recognition. Has Isaac's other stuff had any recognition? Okay, I'm just looking. So the filmography is Ekisa Butwa, Valentine's Satanic Day, Tebatsu Sasula, or as it's referred to, Teba Daba Zaba 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 Zabazula, Ebola. Then Who Killed Captain Alex? Then The Return of Uncle Benon, Rescue Team, Bakunu Tijigamiti, The Cannibals, Black, Crazy World, which that got premiered in 2020, but it's a 2014 film, so again, that's a vintage one. Revenge, Ivory Trap, Akawanawasusu, Once a Soja, Agubiri the Gate Man, $1 Million Kid, Capitano, Attack on Nyegi Nyegi Island, Bad Black, and then the most recent ones are Heaven Shall Burn and the documentary Once Upon a Time in Uganda, which is basically sort of about Wakalia Wood, but also about the way filmmaking has gone. However, apparently listed as being in production, although not on IMDb, maybe. We have Operation Kako Nigioro, the Ugandan Expendables. Oh my god, the Ugandan... Sorry. I know they're trying to do... I know that they've been trying for the past 10 years to get a female Expendables, but if we can get a Ugandan Expendables now in the same vein as this, holy crap, sign me the hell up.
It would be better than the first Expendables movie. It really would.
Eaten alive. I just went on the IMDb page for the movie, and you're gonna love this, AJ. And on my phone, the way it's set up for quotes, it shows one, and then you click it to see the rest of them. The quote that it displays is the one that says, "Hey, come in here and check out more." Literally says, "VJ Emmys, dinosaurs."
Dinosaurs?
I forgot about that one.
It just says dinosaurs, period. That's the only context it gives. It doesn't say what he's looking at or anything. It just says VJ Emmys, dinosaurs. And it says in the crazy credits portion that VJ Emmys comes back after the credits to promote more productions from that company.
So the ones that are listed... There's even more that aren't even on the Wikipedia. There's Bruce Yu, so there actually was an actual Bruce Yu film. Isaac Ninja. Tiger Mafia, which is filming. Killer Gala. Eaten Alive in Uganda. Ebola Hunter. And it's... Wait, who killed... Why does it say Who Killed Captain Alex TV series?
I saw that pop up when I searched for it on IMDb. Oh, also, AJ, just to follow up from the quotes thing, I clicked it. Who Killed Captain Alex has 43 memorable quotes on IMDb.
That's got to be most of them, doesn't it? The movie's so short.
Let's see. The first one listed as dinosaurs. Then I'm making German food. German food. We found German tourists. We are cooking them.
Oh,
What the fuck is one of them.
So yeah,
Who's the bitch? Shoots his wife. You.
Oh, wait, what was the one before that?
They're all VJ Emmy quotes for the most part.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I was gonna say one I forgot
One
to
of
mention.
them is literally, it has in brackets repeated line and in all capital letters, movie, movie, movie.
I say one that I forgot that I really loved was when it's, and I think what I love so much about it was that the Bruce Yu scene feels like such downtime, and then just abruptly to end the scene is the moment where the girl says that she's going to eat the other fish, and he turns around, and VJME screams, "What the fuck?" But it gets cut off.
What the fuck? And then hard cut straight to the.
Here's one that just says, Captain Alex, who are you? Soldier, yo mama. Super action.
I love the idea of them being on IMDb out of context, because sometimes they put like the italicized words to tell you what the context is.
Bad Black has a 7.3 on IMDb. Crazy World has a 7.3. Black has an 8.6. Tebasu Sasula has apparently a 9. Rescue Team is an 8.7. Bakunja Takuni Miti the Cannibals apparently has a 9.2. You know.
Here's one that one of the quotes is just VJ Emmy. Hello.
Hello. He says that a lot. I swear it's to make sure that the people that have fallen asleep they're not interested in the football and the film's just boring. I'm just like, hello. What? Oh wow. Thanks, Billy, for the $2. We have our first donation. The fuck?
Let's just all take a moment to mark the occasion now that we got the first donation by talking about Who Killed Captain Alex.
I mean, it is the guy that I sort of made. Billy is the guy that I made it watch with me, who's just like, Commando, my brain melted. Apparently, I tortured him by making him watch it. So, I'm evil. I mean,
I found this to be anything but torture.
Yeah. The thing is, you say it's evil, but like you're the one who says, okay, for my stream alert, should I have a thing where I just have the line that says Commando? So it's clearly had an effect on you, Billy. In a good way. Bryce says he'd give it a B-. I did think the movie started out funny, but when you when you added and repetitive jokes and not as funny after like 30 minutes of it. I mean, to some extent, you know, the running joke in itself, at least on somebody did a supercut of all the VJME major bits, although it doesn't have all the crazy stuff of the list of the things at the end. But like the word commando and hello, or the like the weird sort of excited giggle that he has half the time. I mean,
you're just saying VJ Emmy's name, and I'm trying to just not start laughing again.
Well, see, we can stop laughing because my word, Josephine's gone super ham on since Who Killed Captain Alex is a war film. It's time for a war movie face-off. I guess is how we can wrap it up. Part of me thinks is which one of the, rather than spin it into which movie's better, which one of these deserves to have, which one would you be more intrigued to see the VJ treatment on in terms of a war film? So first up, Legends of the Fall or Cold Mountain? Cold Mountain, I think, would be the more interesting one.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket or Platoon?
Okay, I gotta be honest with you. Is it weird that the final gunfight in Who Killed Captain Alex kind of reminded me of the last big battle scene in Platoon?
To some extent. And then I'm also thinking of, like, you know, the infamous sort of, like, Willem Dafoe taking 5 minutes to die sort of bit. That's the bit. They walk slow, because they think slow.
Yeah,
This is the random slow mo bit.
Do we all agree in Full Metal
Yeah.
Jacket when Kyle shoots himself, that's going to warrant a Jesus?
What
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
fuck?
say, apart from a couple of things here and there, I don't feel like Full Metal Jacket really, like, Full Metal Jacket almost feels aware enough that it wouldn't even need it.
That the what the fuck abrupt cut would be perfect on the bit when we transition from 70s to 80s in Boogie Nights with Little Bill with the what the fuck 80s. um, All Quiet on the Western Front or Bridge on the River Kwai.
I would say Bridge on the River Kwai, probably.
Yeah, like, you know, I feel that with all the sort of the big sort of tension bits in that would just be greatly improved by this is Bridge on the River Kwai. VJ Emmy on the mic. Deer Hunter or Patton? I mean, just from the Cavatina stuff, I think Deer Hunter. He probably makes some sort of joke about the Russian roulette being like, this is the punishment you get for watching Nigerian films or something. Letters from Iwo Jima or Flags of Our Fathers? In all honesty, Flags of Our Fathers, because I thought that was the most boring.
It's the one in most need of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one on the VJ front. Good Morning Vietnam or 1941?
Something has to make 1941 entertaining, so let him do it. I do not care for 1941. And the fact that it's already a parody, I honestly feel like adding parody to parody in that instance, especially when one of them sucks so much, it could actually work in a really beautiful way.
I guess I was thinking tough, just like, you can't really do that to Robin Williams, can you?
Yeah. That's another one of those cases where it feels like the movie already does it.
Das
From
Boot
within
or
itself.
Das Boot or the Sand Pebbles? I feel the Sand Pebbles has more action because a lot of Das Boot is just they're sat on a submarine. There won't be enough action for the VJ to sort of be excited about.
That sounds right. My memory of the Sand Pebbles is vague, but I do remember a decent amount of action in it.
Master and Commander or Hunt for Red October? I mean, again, there's sort of more action in Master and Commander, I'd say. Don't get me wrong, there is still some action bits in Hunt for Red October, but a lot of it is the...
Yeah, Hunt for Red October is more suspense in that regard, I think.
Saving Private Ryan or The Thin Red Line? Depending how you feel on Terrence Malick films. Although now to think of it, VJ Emmy's work on the Omaha beach scene for the first like 30-40 minutes of Saving Private Ryan would be awesome.
Yeah, a part of me was saying, like, much as I love VJ Emmy, I don't know that I would want Private Ryan or the Thin Red Line touched, but yeah, pieces of Private Ryan I would be interested.
You are watching the Fablemans. The Patriot or Braveheart?
Patriot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of instances of yelling, "Commandos!"
Glory or the Long Riders?
Long Riders, probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's close between the two
I
of
don't
them.
want. I don't want it. I don't think VJ Emmy should have a say during like Denzel being whipped or anything like that.
MASH or Kelly's Heroes?
I'd say Kelly's Heroes because once again, I think MASH is one that just kind of does it for itself.
I just had a thought of the MASH TV series replacing the opening theme with the same version of Kiss from a Rose.
I'll buy it. Paths of Glory or Apocalypse Now?
Had plans to rewatch Paths of Glory for like 2 years now.
The thing I'm trying to work out is
Would him being on it speed up your plans?
I'm trying
Maybe
to work,
it's a great movie by itself. I don't think it needs any additions, but
I think
once again,
any of the three versions would fit. The original cut, the director's cut, or the final cut.
yeah, we need him for the redo because the redo has that whole extra hour that's just completely pointless. I need help getting through that. It was pissing me off the last time I was down there with my brother. The only streaming version of Apocalypse Now was the redo. I was like, what is this shit? So I didn't have my physical copy on me because I was over there, but down there.
The Big Red One or Johnny Got a Gun?
My memory of the Big Red One is so vague. I remember Mark Hamill was there, and there was the scene where they like had to go one at a time to do something. My memory of both of those is really vague. I may just have to abstain from this one.
And then
now that Mark Hamill's come up, I would love to see VJ do like a New Hope.
And then the one that Spencer adds, Dunkirk or Hacksaw Ridge? To some extent, just because of like the sort of like the bit where he sort of does it himself. That scene in Hacksaw Ridge might be enough.
The human shield bit in Hacksaw Ridge, I would like to get.
Yeah.
I feel like he well, yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but.
And then I also appreciate Bry again going, next time on the Popcast Movie Club, we go to the 3-hour film by the Wachowskis and Tom Twyker from 2012, Cloud Atlas. But next week, the Oscar nomination predictions for the month of August here on the Popcast Network. Make sure you subscribe. So I think
we've officially gone longer than the movie, I believe. So
yes,
we accomplished the goal.
Exactly. That was the aim. We've gone an hour and a half. I did say we probably, if you started watching now, you probably watch the movie and it's slightly over again to be able to watch. So yeah, thank you to everyone, Billy, Brian, Josephine, Spencer, and everybody that couldn't make it, because I'm hoping we get some more activity than we usually do in the actual, comments after the fact, and rather than those that couldn't sort of jump in with us live. So yes,
And
Next,
I obviously once again want to end the video the way I started it with thanking Ashley for bringing this movie into my life. I love the fact that I think my main takeaway of this movie is just how endearing it is not what I was expecting.
yeah. I mean, I as I always do in my end of year lists, I try and get something in there that's world cinema, and I sort of wanted to do it. Also, I wanted to do something sort of like V for Vendetta that was new, because a lot of my stuff is sort of going sort of old to 70s or 60s or beforehand and whatever. So getting sort of these gems of stuff that wouldn't have been covered by AJ yet in reviews or whatever, or touched on in verses, is sort of what I'm trying to sort of hunt down to some extent. Any final thoughts on the movie, Chris?
I'm still not 100% sure of what I watched.
You're still taking it in.
Yeah.
I love that you say that though, because it's like we know for a fact because we were just watching it. It is as fresh as it could possibly be to you right now because you were still finishing it when we went live.
Hmm.
uh, so yes, that is all for us for this time. So schedule next week, next Sunday the 28th, will be a special end of month Q&A thing and all that, discussing who knows what's happening in terms of everything, and then Monday will be the start of Oscar predictions.
So, brother, are you gonna be here for that Q&A, or is that when you're out of town? I can't remember.
I'm going out of town that week, but I'll probably be getting stuff together that night.
So you might be able to hop in and we can discuss whatever you crazy people come up with. And then the following week, on a I was going to say tape delay, but it's not tape delay because it's still live. On a 24-hour delay because of all the wrestling. I think Monday the 5th will be Q&A, and then Tuesday will be Cloud Atlas time and all that. As we just looking at when the best time, I guess it would be the week after the 19th would be the best time to do the end of September predictions and whatever. And then I don't know how we're going to do the ones in October.
Yeah, me and Owen were trying to figure that out earlier, but it'll probably just have to be a, we'll figure it out as we go kind of thing.
Yeah. We'll do something. So, yeah, in terms of other stuff here on the channel, I need to still upload that McDonald's thing and a few other things as well over the next week or so, in terms of Snack Stash and things like that. AJ's got a plethora of reviews and verses over the upcoming days, weeks, and technically actually months, because September and October. I'm intrigued to see what is going to come up in remake month, other than sort of the ones you've already gone. I'm not telling you. I've already done that. I've already filmed it.
It's really nothing disappointing. I shot one today. It's not a remake one, but I shot a versus this morning, and something happened that never happens, which is I said, I think that went really well. And it's like, so now that I'm confident in it, people are gonna think it sucks, but
Commandos. I love the fact I can, when somebody's watched Who Killed Captain Alex, because you can just shout Commandos or hello or the movie's on, and people immediately know. Chris, hype up your Instagram.
Instagram is at Chris Hunt's Toys. There will be a Wilmington, North Carolina toy hunt that will go up at the start of September. And then the last toy hunt of the year will happen at Toy-Hio at the beginning of October. I'll be returning to Toy-Hio. And I'm excited about that because while there, I'll be meeting, I'll meet Ethan Page again. And then also announced that I'm going to plan on meeting is Evil Uno, 10 from Dark Order, Hornswoggle, and then just announced last week, which I'm really stoked for, is Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae will be at Toy High.
Ooh.
Yeah. And Susan has a Candice LeRae toy to sign, and we have an Evil Uno toy for him to sign, so that'll be fun. But you can look at pictures from the event and the hauls from those events on my Instagram.
Great. So, with that, thank you everybody for watching, listening, inging, all that sort of stuff. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, just remember, Popcast Network is crazy.